about, I don't know, was it 3 months ago? Shane sent me the video, the first video I think you ever published about Hogan being sick or being in the hospital.
I was the first and only guy to go out on a limb and say that he was going to die June 18th.
June 18th. I remember
that right to Danny.
He sent it to me the day you posted it. And I'm like, Bubba is losing his shit. I'm like, Bubba's just doing anything he can to get views now.
Like,
everybody thought I was
he's just trying to get some traction.
I heard it all. Clout chaser, clickbaiter, irrelevant, desperate, the whole 9 yards. They don't realize that I had some very good in-sources. Now, I've befriended Brooke recently, but Brooke wasn't my resource. I had people within the hospital. Do you know?
Down a little bit.
Do you know when you're on to something, and a lot of times then you kind of have the Johnny come lately effect. So if you're on to something and you're first on a particular topic, then a lot of times that will lead to other people jumping on and giving you intel as well.
Yes.
So I actually even had the valet guy at Morton Plant that was calling me and letting me know the comings and goings as to who's going
Morton
where.
Plant, Clearwater?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's where Hogan was. His last stint was at Morton Plant. Prior to that, he was at Tampa General. But
so how did this start?
It started with a email to the show on my show, and it just said, "Hey, I work at Tampa General. Please do not say my name, but Hulk Hogan, your friend, is not doing well." And that's all it was. And at that point, the guy, I should have probably said the person. So I mean, at this point, Hogan's dead. But the guy gave me his information to call him. So I did my show the next day. This is like June 16th. And I did my show the next day, and I called the dude. And he's like, "Listen, Hogan is
on air."
No, off air.
Oh, okay.
Completely off air.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't go on air till June 18th. That was the first day. And so I call this dude up. I try to vet him. Where do you work? What do you do at Tampa General? Like, why would you be privy to this? I was more, skeptical than anything. I just wasn't there. I just wasn't there. Just tell me some information for me to go to air with, because
that's dangerous, right?
Yeah, I mean,
false info out there.
Hogan's trust me, I know Hogan's litigious, and his family's litigious.
Right.
As I'm, going through a federal gag order right now with the deal, and so I knew I just couldn't come out. The information the guy's giving me is like blowing my mind. He's like, "You don't understand. They're calling family members, telling them to get their ass to the hospital because you may not see Hogan again." I mean, he is on all these machines, and he's having problems with complications from heart valves, and the guy's all over the place. So I sat on it for a day. This was like I came out on the 18th. So this would have been like maybe like the 15th or 16th. And I sat on it on a day. I sat on it, and I tried to get another source to verify, and I couldn't. And so I start looking at Hogan's friends and what they're saying, and Jimmy Hart's like saying, "Oh, Hogan's great," and this kind of stuff. I had one of my producers called Hogan's his restaurant, Hogan's Hangout, whatever the hell it's called, and asked if he was going to be at that karaoke that Monday night. And they're like, "No, he's not going to be here. He's out of town or something." Well, I knew he wasn't out of town. I knew he was in the hospital. I did know that. So I just kind of took a leap of faith with what the guy told me. And I got on the air, and I think the actual verbiage was, "If you do some sniffing around at a local hospital here," and I tried to use everything in radio that I've been taught for 40 years on how to cover your ass, in my opinion.
And cover your sources.
And cover my sources. So I said, if you do some sniffing around in a local hospital, it's my opinion. I don't know it to be true, but it's my opinion. And I think, and I've been told, and again, I don't know it to be true, that Hogan's in a hospital here locally in Tampa, and he's not doing well. And I think family has been called to come in and say their goodbyes. So with that, I got more and more brazen, and I continued to get more and more information from this one particular source. But then I got another source, and my other source is like, "Hey, I heard you saying this about Hogan, and here's what I know because, I'm close to the source as well." And it just kind of bred itself. So I got more and more brazen. So where I was like, in broadcasting, if you say something wrong, malicious, slanderous, liable about somebody, the first thing that goes down is you get a 770 notice. And so, like, if I said something about Danny Jones and it was just completely, untrue, like Danny Jones is natural.
On the roids.
Danny Jones is on only Fred Flintstone vitamins, and that's it. Well, that's a fucking blatant lie.
I'm suing.
Exactly. No, but if I said something like really bad, like, Danny Jones is a kid toucher. I mean, I'm talking about something really bad, like really.
I went to the island.
Right, you're hanging out with Epstein, So, but if I said something completely just 100% false, defamatory, slanderous, liable, then your attorney would be sending me a 7-7 notice, which means what I said was untrue, and you're putting me on notice to retract that. And it's or I'm going to be, I have one shot.
Cease and desist.
It's worse. It's more than that because
you got to backtrack.
Not only do I have to stop, but I have to retract what I said and correct what I said.
I see.
So that's what a 770 notice is. That's just from being in the business so long. So I knew at that point, I get on the air and I'm like, listen, Hogan's people out there, if Hogan isn't in a hospital bed and he's doing okay and he's not gravely sick, then send me a 770. Shut me up. Make me be quiet. Because what I'm hearing is he's not doing well at all. And here's this and this and this and this. And every day I would say, send me a 770. If I'm wrong,
Right.
Well, a lawyer can't send you a 770 if you're not wrong. If you're not wrong, they can't make you shut up. They can't say you're being slanderous or liable or anything like that. They just got to take it. And they get real mad that they got a leak within their little world. And so I just kept going on, and then I got intel that they transported him in the middle of the night. He was at Morton Plant. From at that point, they transferred him in the middle of the night over the weekend.
How long was he at Morton Plant for?
I don't know. I think about a week.
Okay.
I don't know exactly how long he was at Morton Plant, but I do know when they transported him, they took him home like on a Friday via ambulance, and he was doing well through the weekend. Eric Bischoff saw him on Monday. Jimmy Hart saw him on Wednesday, and he died on Thursday. And, I had reports that he was home resting. They didn't send any machines home with him. They just sent a hospital bed home with him so he could be more comfortable. So at that point, I think the hospital assumed one or two things. Either one, he's too far gone and we can't help him. And I'm only assuming this. I don't know it to be true. But two, he's getting better. And he might maybe pull through this because they didn't have any ventilation. They didn't have a breathing machine. They didn't have him trached. They didn't have him on any extravagant machines. He just had this little, like he had a respiratory therapist come in once a day and do respiratory exercises with him. And that's all he had. And
so he was like fully conscious and awake and
100%,
wow.
Eating, and then Wednesday night, he went to bed. He was sleeping in a recliner, and he was sleeping in a recliner in the living room. That's where he was most comfortable. And Sky, his wife, found him dead in the morning. I think there was a respiratory therapist and another male nurse there reporting for their duty that morning. And I think when they got there at 9:11 or whatever time, they had found Terry dead. Oh. And he was supposedly dead. Like
in his sleep, it happened.
Like when they gave him 2 shots of Narcan in case there was an opiate overdose. I speculated on the air that it was that he had taken too many pain pills and that he, mean, we've lost 38 wrestlers in the last 10 years over people opioids and alcohol
Overdoses and stuff like that.
So I thought maybe that was, and I was on the air heavy with that. But then, Brooke came down to Clearwater and met with the medical examiners, and later, pretty much was satisfied with their investigation. So that's when I kind of laid off. I thought maybe
She was satisfied with it?
Brooke was, yeah. So at that point, I kind of laid off and just let him rest in peace. And knowing my documentary's coming out, and and like everybody's like, "Oh, you timed your documentary to coincide with Hogan's death." I've been trying to get this documentary out since the last time what was that, 2 years ago when I saw you?
Yeah, you were talking about it 2
We
years
were
ago.
talking about it 2 years ago, and I had the wrong filmmaker at the time. I had a guy I had a group of people that were putting it together. It's not my documentary; it's theirs. I don't have any ownership in it at all. And so I just felt 2 years ago we weren't. They just didn't have the glue to tell the story, and we got a local guy who has had some stuff published on Netflix, and he named Ian Longen, and he was kind of the difference maker. He really, really knew the story, and he was the glue to kind of put this very convoluted story and very long and kind of hard to understand story together. And we premiered last Friday, and we're dropping today on Amazon, Google Play, and then of course Apple TV.